Welcome back, gamers. In today's video, we're going to run you through 100 tips in Apex Legends. These tips range from the novice to the expert range, and we're going to go through all of these clips that we collected in Season 19. These will range from legend tips, gun tips, game sense, and even better, settings for mouse and keyboard. These videos take a ton of time in production, so any like, comment, or sharing of this video does a ton. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you take a couple things away from this video. With that out of the way, let's get right into the first tip right now. Make sure you learn the max abilities of each legend. Caustic can put down 6 barrels, Rampart can put down 5 shields, Watson can put down 12 nodes on her fence, and Catalyst can have 2 piercing spikes and 2 barricaded doors. If you want to beat your enemies to the dropping in somewhere, hit the wall and you drop immediately down instead of flying down. If you want to maximize the grenades, always be sure to throw an arc star at the door, followed up by a thermite. When this thermite finally breaks the door, the arc star will drop the enemy teammate. After you kill someone, if you pick up their gun, hit this little paintbrush at the top, it'll swap to your skin. Their skin's ugly. If you're a Gibby main, practice this bubble. If you throw it at the exact right spot, the enemy behind you cannot break the door. Look at this. You're not getting in. When playing with Ash, if you've not found any death boxes, if you simply pull up your minimap, the blinking skulls will tell you where the last team died. Here's a great tip with Newcastle. If you ran out of ammo, it's a great idea to pick up your teammate, use them as a shield. Watch this. Yep, not getting me, bud. No way. With as fast as the game is right now in third parties, if your teammate is downed in an enemy fight and you're still alive, the best thing you can do is pick up a shield and drop them while your teammate reses them. This allows them to come back ready to fight. Did you know on Storm Point, Horizon can queue over this fence? It's got someone blocking the doors, have no worries, you can get right over. Did you know that if you pull up your inventory, you can find out all about your teammate's current inventory? It'll tell you about all of their shields, their ammo usage. It'll tell you whether they have a mobile respawn, a jump tower, or a heat shield. A great tip for when using Maggie's drill is to use it to split teams. Here we're trying to fight 2 teams. We simply use the drill to stop this team from pushing. Lucky enough we do get the kill here, but always use it to split the teams. You can play Caustic very aggressive. Just always make sure you place his traps at the top of every zip line and every rail. The slow from the gas will really help you take advantage when someone comes up it. And don't forget, you get to throw 6 of these bad boys down. Don't forget where you put them. Always try to stay right around where they are. If you didn't know, right behind the gardens on Olympus, there's another lifeline package. And in this, works just like the others. If both your teammates have purple shields, you're now getting a purple shield. In the middle of this POI, there is a drone to heal you up. One of the best early uses of the crafter is to make sure you always craft your shield up. The game's moving very fast. Don't be left behind. Did you know you can lob a Q through a window? Well, now you know. Sometimes it's going to be tricky. Get right in. Do you want to improve your horizontal aim? Always strafe in the direction of where the enemy is, and you're going to hit almost every single shot. The best way to get high ground sometimes is open the doors outward and climb on up. Sometimes they're just too hard to reach. These are for you solo queue players. Ever wanted to get away but just can't do it? The most obvious spot to hide is always inside the bins. People never look there, and quite frankly, it'll help allow you to get your teammate's banner. Never underestimate the bin camping. You don't always have to fly Crypto's drone around. Use it just like a Bloodhound scan and just pop it up here to give you the awareness you need. It's even better if they try to shoot it, you're in the advantage. On Storm Point, if you just wait 3 seconds for the dragon to fly and shoot him once, he's automatically dropped the loot. Then you hope for the purple shield. Maybe, maybe not. Did you know several weapons can open the doors? Here are the ones that can do it. You have the Kraber, all snipers, the 30-30 repeater, and also the L-Star. This can help you make sure someone's not behind it. If you don't go on the platform and stay at the bottom left, this gravity can is going to shoot you backwards. This is way safer than the zip, and this gets you absolute high ground. Don't underestimate the fake res. Sometimes this drops the angle completely on the enemy and helps give you an opportunity to punch him right in the face. If you're picking up Revenant with the rework, just know his leap vertically is one of the worst in the entire game. Avoid using this and instead stick to the horizontal movement. This is where you get the maximum amount of distance on his leap. Do not underestimate how important nades are late game. I always try to carry one of each grenade late game because it really helps you push a team that's in a difficult spot to reach. Factor that in with all of the doors in this game. It gives you a lot of opportunity to not let people sit and hide. It gives you a chance to push. If you didn't know, the bow has 0 vertical recoil, so you really should be fragging every single person that ever tries to take a jump on this jump tower. No, it's not skill, there's just no recoil. Enjoy. Wraith has a ton of great abilities to help get you in and out of sticky situations. One of the most enjoyable ones is the kidnap. However, don't pull this off in a solo queue without comms, because there's a good chance when you take that back, your teammates just won't be there with you. And look at this. It could have been so good, but it just wasn't. I see this mistake way too often. Always make sure when you are reloading, specifically with a shotgun, you continue to take cover every shot you take. In this fight here, we could have avoided a whole lot more damage. Instead, we're reloading and then popping back out. Never stay in the open and reload. Don't do it. This is a couple hours in the firing range, but maximize on Watson's fences aggressively. You're not always going to be camping, and sometimes putting these down quickly can help you save your life. I know some of you here to rank up. If sometimes you just don't have the teammates to do it and you need a wrap for a couple minutes, this little waterfall at the top on Storm Point is a very good place to hide. If they find you, to be honest, they're just cheating. In the firing range, if you go to this box, you can swap between the car and flatline. That's exactly where shield swap will be. Practice getting in and out of this thing as quick as possible and implement it in the game. Mantle jumping is always a cool thing to do, but this one is the most beneficial on Storm Point, especially if a team's above here. Look at me. We're out of here. We're out of here. Just like the gravity cannon, if you throw down Octane's launch pad and simply punch and move backwards, this will launch you backwards versus forward. Isn't that cool? It can be very beneficial to always watch your trigger control. This is mainly important when playing with teammates. Instead of shooting first, make sure you 3-2-1 an enemy. Also, the worst thing you can do when getting to a third party is be shooting before anyone else is. Try to line up your shots with your team at the same time. Not most people know this, but turn on impact marks through the settings and simply shoot and learn the recoil pattern of every single gun. It does take time to learn, but the people that are really good at this game have great gun control with every gun in the game. So simply take a couple of minutes, learn how to control the recoil, and again, you have to get better at every single gun, not just one. Just so you know, if you're crafting an item for one of your teammates, if you just simply ping it, it'll allow them to pick it up instantly instead of waiting the 6 seconds. Always make sure to get all the attachments you need before hitting the assault bin. It's smart loot, so it's going to pick the current items you have, and it's going to give you the better variation of those attachments. Stuck on this side of the map on Broken Moon, right outside Cultivations, just so you know, you can use the jump tower to get over top here. Want to know how many nades you're carrying? Look right here, right next to the grenade. We've currently got 2. When we pick up another one, it's going to be 3. Just so you know, this is a great way to keep track of what nades you currently have. Frag grenades do the most in this game. One of the most important things you can do is try to always arc these. Do not just throw them straight on. Always arc them to where the peak of the explosion happens right as soon as it lands. Watch this nade right here. This is what we're talking about. Boom. Instant death. I know one of the coolest things you can really do is to get a 4K or a 20 bomb. If you're looking to do that in pubs, a very easy way is to drop almost instantly off of the tower. Promenade is a great spot, but this one also is super good. Another tip when doing this, just know that every single enemy that you finish that is downed, that adds towards your damage, just not to your evo. If you ping an item in Loba Shop and back out and ping it again, there's going to be a white line that appears. This will show you exactly where this item is. So if you've used all your charges and still need an item, use this strategy to find exactly what you need. Want to improve the sound in your game? Remove the dialogue. Game sense and improvement is all about paying better attention and having better awareness. By turning this off, you're removing all the dialogue, whether it is the legends talking, whether it is the name of the item being pinged, you remove all this. This will help you pay a whole lot better attention as to what's going on around you, and that's really where you need to improve. I know sniping is not for everybody, but if you are a Rampart main, I would most definitely prioritize learning how to use the sniper with no optics, etc. This thing behind a shield early game is basically one-shotting everyone. Want to improve your momentum a little bit going downhill? Don't forget, all you need to do is while sliding is jump and slide again. This will help you continue that momentum, and sometimes you pick up even a little bit more. We learned this the hard way, but just so you know, the Trident has a 3-second delay when jumping off of it. If you do not jump off of it quick enough, this will just watch. You sure already know this, but it is pretty obvious. The EVA 8 and the Mozambique are both automatic shotguns. These guns shoot very fast, so it's always most beneficial to hold it down. A huge tip for Crypto, if you're not ready to push in a fight, it's great just to use his ultimate to level your shield. Again, if you're able to hit 3 of them, the most amount of shield you're going to get. Make sure you understand that most legends have a global cooldown on their abilities. Making sure you understand this, and when you use your ability, you pull back to provide yourself cover, will help keep you from taking any additional damage through the fight, just like in this Bloodhound clip. Yep, there we go. That's a nice one. If you're practicing the firing range, just know you can respawn all the dummies, you can have new spawns for dummies, and you can reset all the doors instead of exiting and coming back in. It's just in the settings. If you want to be the playmaker on any squad, you have to learn how to make multiple angles and change the audio cues from your enemies. Just like in this clip, I'm continually moving from different angles every single time to keep this guy confused. On top of it, just know that audio cues are really difficult when throwing grenades. So in this example, we're able to get back in and finish the squad without him having a clue. Nades always cover up a ton of sounds in this game. Before entering a new zone, you should always use Crypto's scan to make sure you know where it's been looted and where it hasn't. This is really a tip for Digi Day, but anytime the Digi's in the crafter, Bloodhound should be your legend of choice. While the benefits of seeing through smoke are also important, realistically, he helps you see with infrared the entire time. This really helps you continually track legends and make sure you can end every fight quickly. And don't forget, Bloodhound is just simply the best. Just so you know, throwing Ash's tether will prevent you from taking the gravity lift. I wish I was the one that did this, but someone did it to me. The more you know. Make sure you spend time learning the optics that work best for you. Just because you see someone using a specific optic and doing very well doesn't mean it'll do the same for you. I typically will never go past the bruiser, and in fact, when using the flatline, I prefer the 1 to 2 variable. So as we've said, learn every optic and which one works best. Just so you know, on Broken Moon, this rev climb has got to be the best one in the entire game. This is going to catch everyone off guard. Take advantage of revealing the care package every single game with Pathfinder. In this clip, we use his ultimate zipline to get to this care package because we know another one's dropping, and we simply go discover that drop and we're able to zipline again to a better, safe, and secure spot. You can have multiple ziplines late game by utilizing this strategy. This may be my favorite thing to do on Broken Moon is jumping on top of the zip rail to really catch my enemies off guard. If you don't know how to do it, simply practice. It's very basic to do, but this will always catch your enemies off guard to help you land that kill. If you didn't know this, if you take a med kit and stim at the very end of the med kit, you're going to get yourself full health while also getting one last stim in with it costing you nothing at all. A great trick with Bangalore is to utilize her smoke followed up instantly by a grenade. This really masks the sound of the grenade, and you're going to get a whole lot more damage because they just simply can't hear it. Just so you know, tip number 63, Wraith cannot take a zip line while in her ultimate. A great strategy if you're down in front of a door and trying to let your teammate in is continually spam the door. The enemy will never get fully control of this door and allow them to finish the fight. Big win here. The quickest way to move around in solos is always make sure to try to finish the enemy. Why? Because most of them simply leave the game. This will get you right back in combat and also with full shield. You don't always need to use Gibby's bubble to stand inside and fight. Sometimes it's used to just break angles from your teammates. I use it here to make sure my teammate could get away, and the rest of the time I'm fighting inside and out. We've already used the example, but do not avoid snipers early game. This could be a huge difference in your team swinging the entire fight. Just make sure you know how to use the base optics because sometimes it's a big deal. Play with people that consistently communicate what's happening and where. This example is a prime reason why we win this team fight. Nice. Guaranteed purple every time with Marvin. Wait until he starts up, and as soon as it hits gray, hit it. Boom. That's the purple right there. That's what we want. Just a reminder why Newcastle's great late game. He blocks every type of projectile in the entire game, from ultimates to grenades. Make sure when using Valkyrie's Q, you don't simply land up top. The quickest way to actually get up there is to climb once you get to the top. That removes that delay. You won't get shot that way. This is probably one of the best ways to practice the wall bounce. Also, you get the most max amount of height here. Plus, look how fun it is. Just so you know, if you look underneath the front of the trident and throw a heat shield, it'll put it over top of the entire trident and you can drive this puppy around. If you're not practicing this sentinel, you're doing really poor. This early game is one of the best in-game snipes, but it also can be used as one of the best shotguns with great hipfire accuracy. Most of the times, people spend a whole lot of time ratting to get points. If you're going to rat, make sure you strategically put yourself in position late game to take some fights. You don't want to spend 90% of your games worried about points, worried about winning. Worry about improving and take every fight end game. Just pick the best angles. Always be sure to nade the top of every zip line in case someone's chasing. On top of that, another tip here is some optics simply stink. You need to learn which hip fire is the best for you. Another way to easily improve your game sense is watch some of the scrims some of the pro players are in. Watching for the quality content at times can be great, but you're really only going to improve by getting in and putting forth a little bit more effort each day. If you're going to solo queue and want to see any type of growth out of your gameplay, pick a legend that is best as being an aggressor. I personally prefer Bloodhound because of the ability to make individual plays with his ultimate while also being able to scan to keep my team safe. Again, find the legend that you are the most beneficial with to the group, but also one where you can be very aggressive with. Pay attention with Conduit. Again, we talked about removing audio cues, but always pay attention to your shield. In this example, I can see I'm being shielded by my teammate Conduit, so instead of really retreating, I'm now back in this fight. Too often, people run away while being shielded. You don't want to do that. Don't let people stand in front of the doors of Rampart. You break them down. Another tip if you're trying to get better, take more fights, and get close to your 4K 20 bomb, pick Wraith and always make sure you utilize your portal just to get your teammates closer to the fight. That way they're not locking behind. Make sure you consistently use Pathfinder's Q around corners. Sometimes you'll catch yourself right behind the enemy. If you find it hard to rank up and you are looking for people to play with as your similar rank and your similar playstyle, there are discords out there that have ranked queues that will allow you to find teammates better fit for your needs. Another great tip for Maggie is to use her drill to force the enemies to come the angle you want them to. I know there's only one way out of this area, so I'm going to drill within that area to force them out to the other side. It's a great way to keep the fight in your momentum favor. Just so you know, you can use Pathfinder's Q just to get quicker to the zip rail. This is cool. We've already talked about it before, but stop looting standing still. Half the time, just so you know, when one fight ends, the next one's about to start. Stop doing it. This is really a mouse and keyboard tip, but if you have the two buttons on your side of your mouse, these are the best two options for utilizing for both your shield cell and your syringe. On top of that, to get the max performance, take these settings, pause the video, and copy these over. It will not dramatically change the dynamics of how the game is run. However, your performance will improve dramatically with these settings. One of the benefits of Newcastle is just similar to the Gibby bubble. You want to make sure you continually angle yourself inside and outside of this to take less damage. We get PK'd here hard, but we lasted a lot longer on this fight. We probably should have. A neat trick with Horizon, if you do have multiple people trying to contest you in one building, throw her Q in front of the door. This will avoid them from coming inside the building. We'll go back-to-back tips here. When you're using Horizon's ultimate, always make sure you throw the nades past where they're coming from. This will make sure as they retreat back from the ultimate, these nades are the ones that stick to them. If you find yourself losing high ground towards the end game, the best opportunity you have to win this team fight is to split the angles and do not all three stay in the same spot. This clip here, we basically split all three angles and this team just can't simply look three different directions at once. If you ever need to know whether you're in the zone or not, if you're outside the zone, the mini map will be blinking on the inner circle. If you get inside of this map, now you can see it's no longer blinking. This can help with zone control 100% of the time. Regardless whether you're on mouse and keyboard or a controller, the best way to improve this game is 100% through muscle memory. I always recommend using the firing range for a couple of minutes before you start every single game, and I really recommend before getting any type of ranked atmosphere, you spend a couple of games going through solo, dropping in hot zones, just trying to make it out alive and take as many fights as possible. The people with the best aim most likely practice this almost every single day through aim trainers and through dropping hot. The best tip I can really give is learn how to play aggressive, smart, and intelligently. What people don't realize is the mental block it puts on people that are being pushed every single game. It puts a strain on them on they are not quite sure how to handle the situation. They're not quite sure what to do, where to move. So learning how to play aggressively while taking minimal damage will help you win a whole lot more team fights. We're not saying push every team, but the teams that you think are not going to fight back, you have to find an opening and you've got to push them. You have to be aggressive the right ways. This tip I basically have spent the last season and a half learning how to play. We're only 6 seasons in and we have spent a ton of time learning the ins and outs of every single legend for just the whole purpose of understanding what can happen to me versus a legend that's on the other team. While I don't think you can master them in 50 to 100 games, I think you can learn a lot of their base abilities and understand the mechanics very quickly, and this will help you either choose that legend when needed or help to fight that legend when against them. Make sure you learn all of the loot spots on every single map. There are going to be times where you're playing by yourself and you're going to land in a spot where one of your teammates wants to be, and you're going to be very uncomfortable. You're not going to know quite sure where to go. Sometimes you may die without even getting a gun. Be comfortable and be flexible, learning every single loot spot, and again, practice this every single day. This is one of those tips I think is most beneficial if either a solo or a team player is playing your shield mentality. There are going to be times where you can push when your shield is gone because you know you'll secure the win, but too often people get fragged and killed without having shield or double peek without shield, and that is really the biggest thing you can do to avoid losing big team fights. This means when you're hit for your shield, find a new angle, shield up, and get back into the fight. The last tip I can give you is evaluate your gameplay after every single game. While playing solo queue and dropping hot will help your game accuracy and a little bit of your game sense, really playing solo queue and rank will teach you the ins and outs of how to win the game strategically. With that being said, you've made it to the end of this video. I hope these tips all helped you tremendously. If you have any questions or there's any tips you think I left out, leave those in the comments below. We're going to try and bring back another 100 tips by the end of the year.